If you're a teenager watching this video now, you need to understand that this video will change the way your life looks if you take action on the things I say now. So pay close attention here because I'm going to change your finances for the rest of your life. Compound interest is said to be the eighth wonder of the world, and it is so important you actually understand what this means and what it looks like for your life. If you're a younger person, you have so much more time for compound interest to kick in and actually start paying you, and it is incredible to see. In this video, I'm going to cover everything you need to know about investing. I'll assume that you know nothing at the moment, and we're going to get you to invest today. And one day in the future, when compound interest is taken into account and you've gotten millions and millions in your account, you can repay me by buying me an AP at some point. The structure of this video is going to work in three main ways. First of all, why invest? What's the point of investing? The second point, we're going to look at what can you actually invest in. And the third part is how can you actually get started. So you know what you need to invest in now, but how do you actually get your hands on it? All right, we'll start with why you invest. We're going to take a look at two people's accounts. Person one is just saving money. Person two is going to invest money. So both people are going to be saving 10 grand a year. They're going to be starting from 18 and they're going to stop at 65. Person one is just going to be saving the money. He's going to be putting it in an account and then he's going to leave it. Person two is going to be putting it in his investment account and he's going to be putting it in the stock market. He's going to be getting 10% per year. And that's what has been standard for the last 100 years. It's been 10%. So let's have a look 1 year in. 1 year in, person one has got £10,000 in their account. They feel pretty good about themselves. Person two has £10,550. He has the extra amount of money because he's gotten that 10% from the stock market. £550 is not a lot of money though for how much risk he's taken. That year the stocks could have gone down and he could have actually lost money. But both people are pretty happy with the amount of money they've made and the progress they're making for the first year, so they continue to do it. First person is just going to be saving their money and the second person said, "No, I've made 550, might as well keep investing." They now continue to do this for the rest of their life until they get to 65. They don't up the contribution or anything, they just keep it as 10,000 every year. At the end of this period they will both be 65. Person one in his account will have £470,000, which will be accrued over 47 years of investing 10 grand every year. Person two has £9.2 million in his account. These people had the same amount of money over the same amount of time. It's just one chose to invest it and one chose to save it. 470,000 or 9.2 million. Same money. They didn't do anything different in terms of the money all the time. This is the exact reason as to why you need to invest, because you need to take advantage of compound interest, which is what person two did. Something I didn't mention was inflation. Something you've probably heard before and something you may not understand. Basically, inflation is everything around you gets more expensive. And usually, on average, inflation is 2% per year. That's why you'll hear people crying about Freddos used to be 9p back in the day and now they're 36p. Things get more expensive over time. And this happens naturally. It's just one of the laws of economics. Naturally, things will start, as things get more expensive. Like one part of the supply chain gets more expensive, the rest of it does as well. So we've established inflation is 2% and everything around you goes up every year. So if you had £100 this year and you waited a year from now, you still have that £100 in your account, but it now doesn't buy you £100 worth of things. It now only buys you £98 worth of things because everything around you got expensive by 2%. And this will happen with the money that these two have in their accounts. Their accounts will show 470,000 and 9.2 million, but this does not take into account inflation because those numbers seem massive in today's standards, but 47 years from now, things will be more expensive. So if we take person one who has 470,000 in their account, 470,000 47 years from now will probably buy them about £85,000 worth of things in today's money. And this happens the same for the person with the 9.2 million in their account. That will buy them about 1.635 million in today's money. Again, this is the same amount of money they invested and saved over the same amount of time. One can retire with £85,000 worth of money in today's money, and one can retire with 1.635 million in today's money. Because you've got to think, when they were investing, they got 10%. So 2% was inflation, but 8% more is what they were getting on top of their money. And as you can see in this chart here, this is the real power of compound interest. At the bottom, if you can see the tiny little blue bit, that is your cash that you're putting into this investment account. The orange bar is the rest of the money. This is all the compound interest. This is your money making you more money. This is that 8% that you're getting on top of inflation. That is huge and it's such a power. And obviously the earlier you can do this, the longer you can allow your money to make more money for you, because it's a compounding curve, as you can see on the chart. So what do you invest in then? So you know that investing is important, but what do you invest in? Obviously, you kind of want to invest in the stock market, as you've seen from that previous example. But there are many different assets you can invest in. The stock market is one of them, so you can buy pieces of companies that make useful and valuable things for society, and you can own a bit of those companies. And usually you'll either get paid a dividend, which is just a bit of their profit they'll pay back to their shareholders, which is you, because you invest in the stock market and invest in their company. So what the person investing earlier was investing in was the S&P 500, which is the Standard & Poor's 500. It's one stock that you buy that's on the stock market, and it will actually underneath it sits 500 of the most productive companies in the US. So you buy one share of this and you get a sliver of 500 different companies. There's a similar one for the UK. It's called the FTSE 100, and this does the 100 most productive companies in the UK. There's also lots of different assets you can invest in. The stock market is just one of them. They're a commodity, so these are things like oil and gold and gas and things like that. These are resources that we use and are useful for a society. You also have newer assets, things like crypto, and these are unproductive assets like crypto. Houses are also another one, so you can invest in real estate, you can invest in playing cards, you can invest in loads and loads of different things. Across all of the assets, you'll get different rates of return. So for the stock market, we saw for that S&P 500, that was 10%. Over the last 100 years, it's returned 10% on average. Some years you will lose money. Some years you'll put your money into the stock market and you'll have more money at the start of the year than you did at the end. But over the long term, over the last 100 years, on average, every year it's returned about 10%. So this would be seen as very little risk, almost no risk. Over the last 100 years, again, this is not a predictor, like over the next 100 years, it may not do the same, but it's the best indicator we have currently. Then you have things that are more risky, but return higher returns. Things like crypto. Crypto won't do 10% in a year, it could do 10% in a day. It can also drop 10% in a day. So typically, if you see higher rewards, it also comes with higher risk. How do you actually get started investing in any of the things I just spoke about? Well, the main way you do it is you make an account with a brokerage. Now, a brokerage is just a fancy term for a marketplace, pretty much. This is where you're going to be able to buy and sell things, and these will depending on what you're trying to buy. So for example, Trading 212 is a brokerage, and this will allow you to buy and sell companies and shares on the stock market. Coinbase is a brokerage where you can buy and sell crypto coins. Typically, if you're under 18, you won't be able to make any accounts for these. You just won't be able to because you need to submit ID and everything. So if you do want to do this, you can either ask your parents and see if they're willing to do it, and you can send money to that account. And then when you get of age, you can then send that money to your own account when you make one. Or you can practice now, save your money now in a savings pot. And again, you can still get interest. So like say Monzo Bank, they'll give you 4.5% just saving your money anyway. So that's still investing. And then you can sign up for the account and you can make paper accounts, so like it'll be fake money, and you can buy real stocks and everything, like real stocks that actually exist, and you can see how you would have done if it was real money. When you're young, the thing is, you're not going to have a lot of money behind you and a lot of momentum behind you to invest in. 2% on £100 isn't very much money at all. But that same 2% on £1 million is £20,000. So this is where you can see it's just basically big numbers return big numbers. So what I would do if I was you is, if you can invest money, I would definitely start doing that. If you've got a little bit of spare change that you want to start investing in, I would recommend you ask your parents and see if they can set up an account under their name and you can put money in it if they're comfortable with that. But what I'd also recommend you do is focus on investing in yourself. Make yourself a valuable asset. If you have skills that people want and need, they will pay you for that, and you can take the money they pay you and put it into the investments you're looking at. What you can do is invest, so you can take little bits of money you have now and you can invest in courses and skills, and that will build you up as a person. And when I say that, I don't just mean hard skills like languages or computer science or maths or anything like that. You can do those and they are really helpful, and I recommend you do those. But also look at soft skills. How do you talk to people in a nice, effective way? How to react in stressful situations? Things like that will also help you very much. And again, once you've done that, you'll build yourself up to be a very useful member of society, and society will pay you because you are good at whatever you do, and then you can use that money to invest. And because you've now watched this video, you know what to invest in and how all the different things you can invest in. What I recommend you do is take a lot of time while you're young to learn what is the crypto market, what is stocks, how does money get made. If you can research all of those things and get your mind around all the different aspects of investing, once you actually start earning real money, you can put it into those things and really start seeing some gain. And then when they blow up in the future, you can come back and give me my AP. If you've made it as far into the video, you clearly want to do well in life. So I recommend you watch this video I made here, because this is so important. This video will make sure that you don't waste your life ever. It will make sure that you actually spend your 20s doing productive things, or make sure the rest of your life is so much more comfortable. This is probably the most important video I've ever made, so watch that one now.